Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and like. Our series begins with 5 friends who were gathered in a circle, playing together. And with us, the first one is Chawi, the poor, unlucky one among them, whom they pick on a lot. The second one is Jin, their boogie woman, whom they fear like the sight of their own eye. The third one is Zori, who lives peacefully and kindly and stays out of everything. As for our heroine, Chang, famously known as Bashiras, her mind is sharp and a little out of it. While they were sitting, someone came in and said to them, "Come so I can take your picture." And then he told them their appearance was awful and may God protect them. That man became our second hero, the famous Tyson, the last one in the group and the one who annoys our girl the most in her life. Of course he's foolish, and his mother knows it, so our girl ran after him, swearing she would uncover all his new and old secrets. And he told her, "Leave me and let's take other pictures." So they took more pictures. And yes, this is Tariq Kabu's group. As soon as our girl returned home, she asked her mother to buy her a new bicycle, but her mother refused, so her father said he would settle the bicycle matter. At that moment, her mother told her, "Since you're just sitting idly, go fetch our things from the old house." Here, the girl flops on the ground, saying she can't bring them by herself, so her mother told her, "Take your rotten gang with you and let them go with you." When she went to Tyson, our son, she asked him, "If you're not coming, will you lend me your bicycle?" But he said hers was smaller than his, so she would go daydreaming away from him. She pushed him and went down to the rest of the friends and brought them ice cream. Zori told her, "You forgot to bring one for Tyson," and she said he wasn't coming. At that moment, our son came and snatched the ice cream from her hand, but Zori, who has a big heart, gave her his so they wouldn't fight. When Wasu asked her if he should also bring the hanger, she told them anything they find to bring it immediately. While she was searching, she found an envelope with money and started rejoicing with Jin. At that time, Chewi, the poor one, entered on them, but did not act like the usual poor one, and sat giving her advice so she would know who hid the money there. When she went home, she led her father into conversation and told him she had discovered a secret, and that if he gave her some of the money, she wouldn't tell anyone. He said, "Come with me," and showed her the bottle where he had hidden it and told her, "You've been drinking a lot. Spare yourself." She said if it's not her father, then it must be her mother, and she went to her mother and told her she had uncovered her secret. Her mother replied, "How did you find out? You are not my daughter. I found you at the mosque gate. Go look for your mother." Our girl was bewildered by the way her mother treated her, like a stray street dog. She was sure her mother owned the money. When her friends asked if she would return it, her mother came and spoke nicely to her friends, but snapped at her to go study a useful word. To get revenge, she decided she would not return anything as long as her mother treated her like a dog. When she was in her room, her mother came in and turned on the light, and because the money was hidden in the chandelier, she became afraid it would ignite, so she ran to switch off the light. She told them she was saving electricity and then kept searching for a place to hide the money. Once she put it in a doll. By bad luck, her neighbor's daughter suspected her, so she hid it from the fan until her father arrived and asked her if she had found a yellow envelope. She told him, "So this money is yours. Why didn't you tell me from the start?" He said he hid it to buy her a bicycle and asked where she had put it. When she pointed to the fan, he said, "You're clever, girl, just like your father." But because the two of them argue a lot, as soon as her aunt came to visit and the fan was on because she was hot, the money blew away. At that moment, they both said, "Oh, Earth, split," and praised the cleverness of the others. Once she was riding her old bicycle until she saw her father waiting with a brand new bicycle. Truly, the merciful father is provision. Of course, our girl rode the new bicycle to Tyson, our son, to show off with it while he was going to throw out the trash. She said to him, "Come, I'll give you a ride." One day, she went shopping, and when she came out, she didn't find the bicycle and kept searching and crying. At that time, her friends were going to the hall waiting for her, but Jin told them she would leave because it was her mother's birthday today, and idols would not be more important than that. At the same moment, Tyson was calling our girl, asking where they were, and she told him the bicycle had been stolen. After that, she went to the party, and as they were leaving, she was laughing as if she hadn't been crying a little while ago. Then she remembered that she had come on her old bicycle and forgot to lock it, so when they ran there, they found it still there. She said, "Of course, who would steal an old bicycle?" but decided to see the positive side and not upset herself. One day, while they were sitting together, our girl asked them, "Am I like people who have no ambition?" Tyson told her, "You're not like them. You're one of them, my dear. Are we in the mood for nonsense, sisters?" After that, Zori was sitting watching whether she had finished all her homework or not, until he saw she had left one assignment incomplete. So Tyson said, "Excuse me," and left with Jin, while she stayed up with Zori, late solving homework. The next day at lunch, she and Tyson were arguing over meat like little kids. At that time, they held a gathering for the whole neighborhood, and one of them asked who needs attention more. women or men? I wish he hadn't asked, because they started arguing. One said men need it more, and the other said women need it more, until Tyson defended men, claiming they don't cry and that they need more attention. Our girl did not remain silent and stood up to defend women until they grabbed each other's hair. The next day at school, the teacher told them that some people left the competition, so they had to form new teams. And of course, our kids had to air their dirty laundry in public. A boy told the school that someone from his team wanted to replace him, and our girl said she had a dog on her team that needed vaccination because she was afraid it would get into fights. But the school told them to keep it quiet and had them draw lots. In the end, they still ended up paired with each other. Friends suggested making the competition's theme about love, and when they were at home, she tried to lie on his shoulder but said, "No way, that's disgusting. I won't do that." Her friend told her if they wanted to win, they must do it, and he put tissues on his shoulder as a test. At that moment, our friend opened the book and told her that when a girl sleeps on a boy's shoulder and closes her eyes, her heart beats. When she lay on his shoulder, she told them she was sleepy and told the others to gather around and not to be disgusted. Our friend continued saying, "Boys get nervous when they are close." So our son said the book says nonsense, and when she teased him about her head being heavy, he almost hit her, but then they returned to their places. Then his friend said they must go out together tomorrow, as if they were a couple, to try how a romantic relationship would be. Our girl, who has a 2-meter tongue, said, "Do we like each other while we are friends to love each other?" He told her, "Fine. When you lose the competition, don't act disgusted that you wanted a new bicycle." So they respected both themselves and decided to act like lovers. The next day, she went to act for him and asked, "What do you think of me today? Do you like me?" He said, "What do I like about you? Of course you're wearing my tablecloth." And she asked if he liked her. Of course our son can't sit a second without teasing her. And when they arrived at the cinema, she asked for 2 boxes of popcorn, and he said no, 1 is enough. When they accidentally touched each other, it felt like a romantic moment, and I thought the hook had been set. She winked, but the ticket lady intervened. Afterward, they left to go to the skate rink, but the boy acted like a patriarch and couldn't keep his balance for a minute, until our girl, with a beating heart, helped him and took his hand. But in the end, she pushed him away and left him. When they returned home, our friend said their plan had no problem. The problem was with them, and he told our son, "I thought of a way for you to love each other." At that time, our girl was acting coy and said, "I made your hair like the heroines of Korean series. What do you think?" He told her to shut up and said if there were an egg in front of him, he would have thrown it at her. So they watched a romantic series to feel something and learn to imitate scenes, and they went out in the rain. It would have been a romantic scene if the beauty hadn't fallen and grabbed the boy's trousers with her, causing a big scandal in front of them. When they tried to imitate the scene at home, they found he had put on an ancient song, and she said, "Sorry, that's Tata's taste," and the kids wanted to beat him up. She wanted them to respect themselves. When she was at the supermarket, a tall and broad guy appeared and got her what she couldn't reach. She looked at him, and a smile almost jumped from her eyes. It looked like a new relationship was about to begin. The next day, she told Lu Jane about the guy she liked at the supermarket. Lu Jane said, "That's the 10th guy you've liked. How does your heart handle all of them?" Later, when the water was cut off and she couldn't take it anymore, she went to Tyson's house and told him she just wanted to wash her hair. She asked him where his family was, and suddenly, he ran outside quickly. Then, our girl started singing and dancing, while Tyson was trying to warn her that someone was with him, but she didn't care at all. The same guy from yesterday, remember him, came in and said his name was Young. He asked if she had seen him before, and she said, "Of course not," because she didn't want to look foolish in front of him. Then Tyson told her that Young was his cousin, and that he would be staying with them in the house. One day she went to Tyson and told him, "Let's go to school," but she was just making excuses to see Young. Her eyes were almost popping out of her head, but Tyson kicked her out. Of course, she didn't give up. One time she went to him and said, "You forgot your math book," just to get inside and see Young. Another time, she went again, and he slammed the door in her face. The last time she went, he said, "What's your story? You come to my house every day. Don't tell me you're in love with me." Then he went to Zori and said, "I think she's totally in love with me. She's standing outside my house on purpose every day." Meanwhile, our girl was telling Lu Jane how madly she was in love with Young, Tyson's cousin, and that she was going to confess her love to him. At that moment, Xiao was standing outside and misunderstood what she was saying. He went to Tyson and told him that Shiraz, our girl, loved him and was coming to confess. Tyson said, "No way, not now. I haven't even thought of a way to reject her yet. You're such a jerk." In class, he kept watching her with his hand on his cheek, but there was ink on it. When she looked at him, she laughed at how he looked, and he thought she was in love with him. He said to himself, "Girls are dying for me." Not just that. While they were eating, she found a hair in her food and felt disgusted, so she decided decided to give him her food instead, but he thought she was trying to flirt with him and get close. That night, they were sitting and eating together. She was waiting for Young to arrive so she could confess her love to him. When she saw him pass by, she ran to catch up, but she saw his girlfriend approaching him. His friend introduced them to each other. Our girl stood there like a unicorn, seconds away from crying. Then came the silly guy who thought she loved him. He tried to hint that he didn't love her and said, "You're not like other girls, so maybe you should forget about this idea." She went back to the table, completely done and not wanting to talk to anyone. The next day, she decided to become a proper girl for real. She brought everyone something to eat. Tyson asked her, "Why are you acting so weird? Go back to being yourself." But she kept behaving differently at school, pretending she couldn't open a bottle even though she could, walking gently like she was full of femininity. She even asked Jane to do her makeup because she was going to the amusement park with Tyson. When she got there, she saw Young coming. She said to Tyson, "Why is he here? And why did he bring his girlfriend too? Isn't that enough?" Tyson said, "Would you rather die and sit alone with me?" She said, "Shut up and leave me in my misery." Then they saw the couple standing together in a romantic moment and said to themselves, "Why are we even here among these lovebirds? We're barely surviving." She said, "Forget it," and went to take a selfie with a hairpin. But the girl told her she couldn't take a picture alone. Tyson was about to tease her, but she said playfully, "Baby, didn't you say I could do whatever I want? Let's take the picture together." On the way back, he asked her if she loved someone. She said she liked someone, but couldn't confess because he was already in a relationship. He said, "When did I get into a relationship?" Then he added, "Oh, you mean Phi? She's just my friend." She said, "Phi what? I'm talking about my love." Young, he looked at her and said, "Come here, girl. You mean you're in love with my cousin?" When she said yes, he almost lost it and wanted to hit himself with a cactus right where he stood. Later, she saw some money on the street and ran to pick it up, but Tyson grabbed her just before a car hit her. He shouted at her, thinking she was trying to kill herself because of his cousin. Another time, he walked into her room and saw her holding a rope and playing with it. He thought she was about to hang herself. Then one day, she actually hurt herself, and he sat with her to treat her wound. He said, "Come on, I'll show you something," and took her to see the new bicycle he'd bought for her. She smiled and he told her, "The most important thing is that you stay alive." At school, when he saw her trying to solve a problem, he said, "Don't you want me to help you?" She replied, "Do you even know how to solve anything, idiot?" He said, "There's no such thing as, I can't," and waved his hand dramatically. But when he actually tried to solve it, he said, No, I can't. This one needs Newton himself to come solve it." She said, "Then why were you acting like a genius from the start?" They decided to let Young explain it to them, but he solved it wrong. Our girl didn't hold back and told him his solution was wrong. When he tried again, Jane said it was still wrong. It looked like Young needed someone to teach him instead. Then Zori stood up and explained everything better than any real teacher. When our girl was coming back from school, she decided to walk exactly 100 steps. Tyson saw her and said, "What on earth are you doing?" She looked at him with attitude and made him carry her all the way home. Isn't he becoming obedient, doing whatever she says? The next day, she was standing and praying before the exam. She said, "If the person coming down behind me is wearing red, it means I'll get the highest grade." Then Tyson showed up, so she asked him, "What are you wearing under your clothes?" He showed her his white t-shirt. She asked about his socks, also white. She sighed and said, "Forget it." Then she asked about his boxers, and he said, "Are you crazy?" She started walking around behind him, trying to see what he was wearing underneath, until he took off his shoe and said, "You want me to hit you with this, or what?" After the exam, they decided to form a study group, but instead of studying, our girl, Xiao, and the other guy were watching a TV show. Tyson yelled, "Is this what you call studying physics? You're all hopeless this year." They pretended to behave, but kept sitting around doing nothing, so they decided to go study in the library. Tyson left for a minute and came back to find them asleep like they were in a coma, so he blocked their breathing to wake them up. After a while, the other guy was sitting playing with his pretty nails, while the other girl was holding a book under another book to pretend she was reading. Tyson said, "Let's go eat. You're all useless anyway." When they were walking back home, Tyson said, "Don't tell anyone you know me from now on." They looked at him and said, "What's he even talking about?" and left. He was embarrassed by his friends just because they were a little dumb. On her way home, Jane was stopped by a man who threatened her and told her to give him everything she had. Just then, Young appeared, put his cap on her head, and told her to walk away and not look back. At that moment, Zori was searching for her. When he found her, she was standing with Young. Poor guy. It seemed like he really liked her, but never got the chance to say it. When she got home, she told everyone what had happened. Tyson said, "If you love him, hurry up and confess to him, since he broke up with his girlfriend." Our girl said, "When did he break up with her?" Don't worry, she'd been planning this for a while, but just liked to act innocent. Zori told them, "Stop Stop joking around and leave her alone. That's jealousy, my friend. Pure jealousy. The next day in class, our silly girl used a red pen to draw fake blood under her nose and told the teacher she was bleeding so she could skip the lesson. The teacher said, "Yeah, hurry to the clinic before the ink changes color," and told her to sit down. They had exams at the end of the month, but all they knew how to do was laugh and play. After the exam, she and our boy were standing and crying. Of course, their friends thought they were crying because of the exam, but those two girls, Hannah and Shireen, were actually crying because they ate something sour that made their eyes water. Crying over an exam? Not them. They didn't have any shame. Later, Young and the others gathered and decided to exclude Tyson and our girl Shiraz from the Halloween party so they could study instead. At that time, our girl was telling Tyson that she wanted to go to the party. Just as she was about to get up and tell them, he said, "Where do you think you're going with that attitude? You want us to tell them we're going to the party with these awful grades? We'll look ridiculous." So they decided to figure out a way to attend. When they went over, our girl was writing sentences in English about Halloween, and our boy was trying to speak English. But our friend said to him, "What are you, a peasant speaker? Go fix yourself and come back." She wished it had gone more smoothly. Jen also told our girl that the way she was writing was wrong and that she needed to put in more effort. As they were walking together, losing hope, they overheard a Shaw talking about the party. They eavesdropped and heard him say that Koreans and Japanese would attend the party in disguise, so they decided to disguise themselves too. No one noticed or knew. Since both of them were poor, they wore cheap black cloths that were sold cheaply. When our girl fell off her bike, she got up to help the little girl who had fallen, but the little girl started crying. Tyson reassured her, saying, "Don't be afraid, we're good spirits." But the girl got even more scared and ran away. Later, when they tried to scare some other kids, their friends stepped in. They told them to let them go, but of course, their friends refused and said the kids should go celebrate together. Our girl was embarrassed and hiding until Young told her, "Today is my birthday. Come out and we'll go outside." She asked, "Where will we go?" She sat down to eat, as if it were the last meal of her life. Tyson told her to bless her food and wash her face first. She replied, "You want me to wash my face before I even took a photo? Take it now, instead of sitting there doing nothing." He took the picture while laughing at her. She asked him to send her the photos and delete them. He said, "Of course I'll delete them." The next day in class, a boy as handsome as the moon named Yao Khan entered, and the girls were mesmerized, saying they had never seen a man like him in their lives. He told them he had come to take a triangle from their class and return it to his. But our boy, confident as ever, asked Young, "Which one of us is the prettiest?" Yao Khan answered, "Of course you." But our boy, stubborn as ever, also asked his grandfather. When he heard Yao Khan was taller, he asked their neighbor, and the man comforted him, saying, "Of course you sit and relax." But our boy got really focused and even asked Jen. Meanwhile, our girl saw the picture and tried to grab it from him, but Jen told them, "You're not old enough to be doing foolish things. Stop fighting before leaving." Jen warned him, "Be careful. The biggest rascal will help you with Huaz," and stuck out her tongue, saying, "Got you." On another day, our friend said that Yao Khan would lose that day's game and look bad in front of the girls. But Yao Khan won and drove the girls even crazier. When our boy looked at Shiraz, he saw she was smiling foolishly. He scolded, "Man, where do you get your information?" He tried to collect any details he could use against Yao Khan. It became a matter of life or death. At the field, Yao Khan tried to get close to our friend and ask them to be friends. Our boy saw them and ran, grabbing his hand, saying, "He's my friend, my cousin." He stayed attached all day, not wanting to let go. Yao Khan asked, "Am I not your only friend?" Our boy said, "No, of course. Chow is also our friend." When they started playing, our boy played well. Unlike usual, jealousy clearly motivated him. Hannah saw that all the girls cheered for Tyson, but she kept cheering for Yao Khan until she saw him playing with a ball, so she cheered for our boy instead. He was gentle, but Yao Khan turned out to be aggressive and pushed our boy. Our girl didn't stay quiet. She went onto the field, swearing to fight, grabbed his t-shirt, and tore it. He said, "Don't think I won't hit you because you're a girl." Tyson told him, "Go ahead, touch her and see what I do." They pretended to leave, and he asked, "Weren't you a fan of your Yao Khan?" She said, "I can't watch anyone bully my dog except me." He replied, "Then respect me, lady." The next day, all the girls in class gathered around Tyson and our friend, but at the same time, a boy named Nassim from another class arrived. The kids rushed at him, wanting to scare him so he wouldn't look at boys from other classes. One day, they went camping to celebrate New Year's. On the way, they stopped to get supplies from the supermarket. Hina, distracted, was talking to her aunt and forgot herself until her aunt told her that everyone had left without her. She ran to catch up but couldn't find them at first. When they realized Shiraz wasn't in the car, they returned for her. She initially refused to get in, but Tyson and our friend dragged her into the car. The two of them slept, but kept fighting over the blanket even while asleep. Jen looked toward Young, and of course, our friend Zuri noticed. When they arrived, Tyson woke up and said, "See, sister, wash my clothes for me." Later, our girl was poking around the car and found a note on the ground from Zuki. She ran to him to understand what it meant and stayed attached to him all day. When they divided tasks to gather supplies, she teamed up with him to collect firewood. In the forest, she told him she found the note. He said, "I'll tell you everything, but it's a secret," and confessed that he liked Jen. While he was talking, she nearly lost her contact lenses, so he helped her adjust them. Our boy saw this and panicked, fearing they might fall in love, and shouted loudly to separate them. That night, the girl kept praising Zuri, saying how amazing he was, how no one else could compare, and how anyone would wish for him. Tyson cooked some meat and put it in front of her. She assumed Zuri had grilled it, but he said, "No, I did." She noted that Zuri had cooked all the potatoes and continued eating them until our boy brought the rest and added the meat. He then took her hand and told her they needed to solve her endless talking problem. He realized she was wearing contact lenses and helped her close her eyes. He said, "Look at me, I'm talking to you," but she kept avoiding him. They both misunderstood each other. At the tent, Shiraz felt cold, so our brave boy brought her a scarf and wrapped it around her neck. It could have been a romantic moment, but someone ruined it by saying, "You look ugly," destroying the mood. They all slept soundly, but moved a lot in their sleep. When he turned, he looked at her differently than when she was awake and wished her a happy new year. The next day, they were in Young's room, saying goodbye, because he was going to the army. Our girl was sad. Tyson asked, "Do you still love him?" But she stayed silent. She told Young, "Since you're going to the army, you probably won't use some things like headphones. Give them to me." She was greedy for his things and wanted to see his muscles, but our boy wouldn't let her in. He told her, "Don't be shameless. Respect yourself." Young fulfilled her wish, and the well-mannered girl touched his muscles bit by bit, but still wanted to continue. So Tyson took her out. One day, Tyson grabbed our friend and told him, "Come here. You like Shiraz, right? Put your hand on her face and a little on her shoulder." He agreed to help her, but since she was wearing contact lenses that were about to fall out, our boy felt relieved and said, "I told you, your taste is even better than this." He added, "No wonder you're happy. It seems like you're the one who likes Shiraz." He set up a silly situation and said, "Impossible. Never," waving his hand. When they were in the cafeteria, Chow told them, "If someone loves you, it shows on their face." She started looking around to see who secretly liked her until she glanced at Tyson. He said, "Don't look at me like that. Who is it that would fall in love with you?" One day, when he was waiting for her and saw her coming toward him, his heart almost jumped out of his chest. After all, our girl was like the moon and truly lovable. When she got close, she sneezed in his face, and he said, "God, you disgust me." At that moment, she asked for his opinion on her hairstyle. He said, "Step back, it's cold." At school, he imagined himself as rich, buying our poor girl every piece of clothing in the store. She then told him she wanted to borrow some money. He said, "Of course, I'll lend it to you." But when he reached into his pocket, he realized he had no money. So he said, "You should have asked for permission first." When she came down to give him a plate of food, he said, "I downloaded a movie. Want to watch it together?" But she had hidden it in her clothes like a silly girl. She said, "Return it today. Stop being cowardly." Then the lights went out, and he continued teasing her. When he lit some candles, he felt a strong sense of romance fill the room. When she realized he was staring at her, he asked her to talk a little. They started talking about a classmate from the second class. He asked her to focus on that topic and stop talking about other people. She got close to him and put her hand on his face, saying, "Don't, God forbid, be mean." He replied, "What do you mean?" He was stunned. She said, "Why is your head so big?" Then he said, "You should go home now. Let's eat from here in the library." Someone called our girl while she was standing and posing. He told her that the teacher asked them to study together and introduced himself as Leo. Our boy said, "No way. We don't let girls go out alone with boys." The next day, he waited for her and told her he would be her bodyguard. When Leo reached their hearts, he asked, "Are you going to study or just mess around?" He stayed with them, step by step. In the library, our boy couldn't stop scribbling, erasing, and he felt uncomfortable in his clothes until he saw girls pointing at him and saying he looked good. He took a piece of paper from Shiraz and wrote his number on it. But then more girls came asking for Leo's number. Oh, the embarrassment you're in, Hazem. When they were returning, she felt cold. Our boy gave her tissues before Leo left, and Leo offered to deliver them to her, but she refused because it was far. She thanked him and pinched our boy to thank him too, but he, being insensitive, pulled her to catch the bus. One day, they went on a trip and were on a ship. Hina wanted to feel like in the movies, so she stood behind Tyson, hugging him, imagining herself in Titanic, and sang the Titanic song. He said, "Why are you acting crazy?" She replied, "Shut up, don't Don't ruin the moment, she said. If you jump, I'll jump after you, Rose, he said. Excuse me, you look crazy right now. When they went downstairs, someone told them the ship had broken down and would be stuck for a while. She started crying, saying, "We're going to die, and I haven't lived my youth." He reminded her, "Weren't you living the Titanic moment upstairs? Curse that Titanic. It really got us." But both of them went to sleep afterward. Later, when our Romeo boy woke up, he took off his jacket and covered her with it, feeling the spark of love. One day, he decided to sing and brought a guitar. "Oh, Hamza, sing, Miss Gada." He prepared himself and set up on the street, started singing, and after finishing, the municipality approved. He grabbed her hand and they ran to a side street and hid. Our boy, noticing a police officer approaching, instinctively shielded her, and she just stayed calm, finally signaling him with a wink. At night, they stayed up together, but everyone fainted and fell asleep except our boy, Tyson. Shiraz slept on his shoulder, causing a little confusion, but he opened the camera and took a picture of her while she slept next to him. That's when he truly fell in love with her. The next day, he was playing energetically, and suddenly, all the girls adored him. One girl came to give him water and asked for his phone number. He said, "What, you want to thank me for taking it home?" All this while, our girl was standing nearby, ready to burst. He told her, "I hit the ball by accident. I had to send it to you," and kicked the ball her way. She left the field angrily. Later, while sitting with her dog, Tyson tried to touch her, but she moved away, saying, "Save that for someone else." By night, he saw her carrying things alone, so he helped, but she pretended to resist. Our boy pulled them from her and asked if she wanted to watch a movie with him. She said she was busy, or not busy neither. He told her, "You've been treating me badly for a while?" "Why?" She said she always treats him badly. He said, "Let the other girls go out with you then," and escorted them home. When Shiraz's parents were traveling, Tyson's grandfather told him to stay with her to protect her because she was alone. Of course, he didn't believe it, but pretended not to care. He went to her, and as soon as he entered her room, she jumped for joy. She told him, "Cover me. Why did you come?" He said, "I'll sleep with you today." She ran to protest, but she was wearing heels and fell onto her face. Her grandmother was there to protect her, not knowing he intended to have private time with her. Meanwhile, their friends walked in on them, and it was an embarrassing sight. Later, while they were sleeping in the living room, our boy went to the bathroom, but Shiraz was inside, looking unwell. When she came out, she felt extremely hot and fainted before finishing her sentence. When she woke up, they told her she had a fever, and if Tyson hadn't helped her, she could have been in serious danger. That's when Tyson realized they had both fallen in love officially, and I swear I saw it. One day, our girl traveled with Leo for a competition. Our boy went to her parents to convince them it was dangerous for her to travel alone. Her father initially said no, but our boy insisted, and eventually, they agreed that Tyson would accompany her. Her father told him to take care of her and keep her away from Leo, whom he disapproved of. Tyson said, "Of course, that's my job today." When they left, Shiraz's aunt told her father, "Don't you feel like they're perfect for each other? Maybe we should marry them?" He replied, "They really do fit together. Thank God we got the parents' approval." On the bus, Leo asked our boy to sit in his place. When he wanted to talk about the competition, he told him, "No, I have social anxiety. I can't sit with someone I don't know." Then the bus supervisor came and said there was an empty seat at the back and no one would sit next to him. He went and sat there, and when she rang him, he said he was tired. She came to check on him, and he started pretending to be sick. When she put her hand on his face, she said, "Why is your face so red?" "Don't scare me, you little rascal." She told him to rest on her shoulder until they arrived. Of course, he wouldn't refuse and stayed close to her. When they got to the hotel, there weren't enough beds, so our silly boy said he and Shiraz could sleep together. They had been used to doing that since they were little. She told him to be quiet, saying it would bring her shame. He said, "No, I just mean in your room." But our boy couldn't finish his sentence. He said, "You're crazy. Let's go." But Leo actually intended to sleep with her, while our boy's mind went somewhere else. At that moment, our girl entered the room and brought him medicine. He told her he would sleep and be fine. She said, "Okay, as you like," and asked Leo to come to her room to discuss the competition. Our boy jumped up like a monkey and sat around them like a chaperone. When they were about to leave, she opened the door for them, but our boy was doing something near the bed. He seemed like he wouldn't let her go. He eventually went out behind Leo. In the room, Leo needed facial cleanser, so he borrowed some from our girl, but Tyson objected and told him to use the soap inside. Leo said it would harm the skin, but our boy decided to teach Shiraz a lesson, saying, "Do you know what she's doing? She's washing her face with water." She was clean and washing like a normal person. While they were sleeping, he kept teasing her with his foot. Leo told him to move it because he couldn't sleep. Our boy removed his foot and put his hand on hers. Then Leo asked him if he was afraid to go to Shiraz's room because he liked her. Our boy shouted like a rooster and said it was was nonsense, then added that he was asking because he liked her. Leo said he would confess to her after the competition. Tyson thought, people who don't waste time, unlike one of our friends here. During the exam, he waited for her under the umbrella until she came out, but Leo was standing next to her with the umbrella. They walked together, and when she looked back and saw him alone, she walked beside him and said, "Nice umbrella." He told her, "If you like it, take it yourself." But she refused. She went back and forth until she finally held his hand. On the bus, she sat next to her friend and asked Leo to sit beside Tyson. Leo asked Tyson for the best place to confess his love, but Tyson said, "I don't know. Don't ask me. Rely on yourself." The next day, Leo waited for her under the house. Our boy saw them together, and his friend said, "Let's watch the match." They sat and watched, unaware, until he said, "I'm getting up." Our boy shouted, "Don't you love her head?" He jumped and said, "Hey, lower your voice, you'll give us away." He asked how he knew, and his friend said it was obvious. Our boy wasn't sure if she loved him too, but his friend said, "She also clearly loves you." That's when he finally ran after her, deciding to confess as well. At that moment, Leo was about to confess. When our boy reached her, he said he loved her, and knew it might feel strange because they had always been friends growing up, but he had never seen her just as a friend. Knowing Leo would confess, he rushed to tell her first. When she got nervous, he said, "So we've loved each other all this time secretly?" He pulled her closer and kissed her. When he wanted to hold her hand, she gave it to him, saying she was his now, but she said, "No, I haven't decided yet." He replied, "You're being silly, girl. After looking at me and holding my hand, you tell me that?" She said, "Ask me first," and he asked her to be his girlfriend. Just as he leaned in to kiss her again, their friend interrupted them. Tyson said he was just blowing air in her eyes because his friend came into the room. His friend replied, "Fine, we'll blow it ourselves." But our boy told him, "Man, you're fine. Back off." The next day, when they went out together, he asked her, "Where's the couple's t-shirt I told you to wear?" She said she couldn't find it in the morning. Then Tyson saw her father coming from afar, wearing the t-shirt, and said, "You look great today." Her father said, "You boy, never stop sweet-talking. I wish I had a son like you." Then they went to the amusement park, played, and had fun. Of course, the day couldn't go smoothly. They had to fight a little. He opened his wallet and found a photo of an actress instead of hers. He panicked and left it, but then remembered and ran to her, saying he forgot to remove it. She saw him putting it back in without removing it and said, "So I know you're lying and looking at other girls." He said, "Fine, maybe that will stop you." She said, "Do you think that will make me forgive you?" He said, then a few kisses, hugged her, and told her there was no one more beautiful in his eyes. Once, he went to her house and asked her to meet him at the old tree. When she asked why, he said they would celebrate 3 days of being together. When they arrived at the tree, he created a romantic atmosphere and wooed her all over again. At that moment, their friends were running around, and when they got there, they saw the couple kissing. Of course, their friend Chow didn't know what was happening, but the other girls did. After a long time, the kids grew up together and were still in love, and even their other friends stayed close to them. And that's how our series ends, with a happy ending. Don't forget to tell us your thoughts in the comments. Check out the rest of the summaries. You'll have a lot of fun with us. And remember to subscribe and turn on notifications.